Shisui Uchiha, a name that has intrigued the community for absolute years, whether it's due to him being an overrated, featless fodder character with no character at face value, or perhaps some see something else in Shisui that may elaborate on him being a beast. Many fans are very quick to discuss how Itachi was a prodigious child, performing the best in the tuning exams up until the introduction of Gaara. These same fans don't tend to remember that Shisui had Itachi beat 23-11 in sparring matches. So essentially today, I just want to discuss his scaling a little more in depth and what most people tend to care to do. I will say though, I don't directly agree with everything in this video, just the fact that I do believe that Shisui is very misunderstood by fans, and I just want to put it all out there that he probably isn't just a featless fodder who was blitzed by Danzo. With that, I believe the reason for why most people tend to forget his power isn't really a bad one and is more likely due to only watching the anime instead of looking back at his character in the manga, novels, and games. So I really just want to go through all those and more specifically the novels and games and talk about the forgotten Uchiha, Shisui. Before all that, though, however, make sure you guys do subscribe. And if you do happen to enjoy this type of content, please, I do encourage you to watch another video of mine, as I do think you will learn something and maybe consider subscribing from there. And without further ado, let's do this. Starting off with what Shisui was so revered for, his abilities. Shisui possessed the body flicker, which is a basic jutsu where shinobi can channel vast amounts of chakra down to their feet and allow them to propel themselves at untraceable speeds. However, Shisui is no average user of this and is actually so proficient that he earned the name Shisui the Teleporter. Even in the Five Kage Summit, one of the Mizukage's guards, Ao, knows that Shisui was so formidable and that he will absolutely never forget his presence. He then brings up what made Shisui truly special, his ocular genjutsu, a genjutsu designed perfectly for manipulation. And what I am talking about, of course, is Kotoamatsukami. Coupled with his sheer speed, the Kotoamatsukami is extremely deadly. The reason to this, sorry, is why I don't really hear too many people talk about it, and it's kind of the reason why I won't be talking about his attack potency. And yeah, so what does the Kodo Matsukami do? Well, to answer this, we need to get into a bit of base conjecture. As for both eyes, the Kodo works on a similar basis to how the Kamui works, where it's the same jutsu in each eye. However, as we all know, the Kamui is different. This goes for practically every one of the MSs. Sasuke received a Madarasu and then Inton Kagetsuchi, which again correlates or corresponds directly with each other. And even then, we don't have a specification for a different set of fundamentals in the eye. We do have a basis to say that since all of these are the case, that it's likely that one also would follow the same principle, I guess. With that being said, though, I believe the first ability in his eye is the one that Danzo has. And this Kodo is a weaker Kodo, and it is still the same, where it will alter the thoughts of a character and force them to perform a certain action regardless of their true will, and make them believe that the action they are performing is under their true will. This eye is exactly that, but again, on a weaker scale. Danzo is capable of using this eye for every few hours. Yeah, it could be broken by Mifune very fast once realizing that he was under it. So yeah, eyeball number two, however, or I guess the one that Itachi puts into the crow, is much more complicated. This genjutsu is stated on a few medians to be the strongest genjutsu ever. This is consistent with the fact that even the infinite Tsukiyomi cannot control the Edo Tensei bodies, yet the Kodo could do it without a problem. Kodo was literally placed on Itachi, and Itachi was obviously completely aware of the fact that he was under it, yet his body, moving at the best capability to do what Kabuto said, was unable to break the Genjutsu. So yeah, the downside of this eye, though, is that cannot be used every 10 years. Quite the price, I know. So how would Shisui exactly be able to use this crazy jutsu against someone like, let's say, the Raikage? Well, if you take the most generous interpretation of Shisui, which is the novel, he was particularly impressive with feats that I would even allow him to level up to the level of his reputation as Shisui the Teleporter. And the bout I'm talking about for all these feats is actually Shisui versus Danzo, which at face value, Danzo is very weak, and there being a fight in the first place is bad for Shisui, right? But what if I said that is wrong? Well, in the novel, Shisui was actually paralytically poisoned by Suguru Aburame, which is why Danzo was actually able to take Shisui's eye in the first place. However, just before that, Shisui was able to actually perception blitz Danzo with body flicker. Shisui is capable of moving his right hand up for the one-handed tiger sign, which perception blitz Danzo. Moving off that, we need to first understand a bit of how chakra works to understand how Danzo's strength kind of progresses throughout the series. So, when acquiring something such as the Sharingan or something that drains your chakra, such as like another ocular jutsu maybe, you would become physically less capable in your chakra reserves that is pulling from them to use in that eye. For example, if you have a Sharingan in your left eye, your right eye's vision would actually be worse than before due to the chakra actually being taken from your reserves. So if you couldn't already see where I'm going with this, Donzo's non-Sharingan eye would actually be far weaker in perception and a lot slower in perception due to him literally having 12 Sharingan drawing upon that and those reserves. Therefore, Shisui perception blitz a greater perception than the one that was blitzing 5 Kage Summit Sasuke, which I don't really think I'll have to explain that, but he was more than capable of always seeing Sasuke's movement, even perceiving the arrow, which is above Sasuke. So using the interpretation like this, you get Shisui 2 perception blitz levels above 5 Kage Summit Sasuke. This is consistent when you revisit Shisui's death, in which Fugaku was so shook by Shisui's death that he was completely willing to postpone the entire coup d'etat. Reason being that they had the idea that Shisui was going to break into Hiruzen's manor after killing all the guards and either kill him or use Koto to change his mind. With this, though, this would be the exact same Hiruzen or even a stronger Hiruzen than the one who is stated to be above all 5 Kage. And similar to how Shisui would be if you took that interpretation of him being several fold above Sasuke, he would also probably be on that level as well. Now, before I leave the novel skilling, I want to retouch a point that I made earlier. So, remember how Shisui was above Itachi in sparring matches? Well, this would be an Itachi who Obito acknowledged as a worthy opponent. Itachi at the time, even whilst losing to Shisui, believed that he would be more than capable of killing Obito. This is an early 20-year-old orange mask Obito, may I note. So yeah, using the novels, Shisui is definitely where he more rightfully should be if you look back at his reputation and lore, even in the manga. However, let's look at the games though. Very quick into the reader, into the Storm games, Shisui and Itachi at this time are a little more implied to be almost relative, with Shisui not being so far above him. However, Shisui does make sure to tell Sasuke that he is way stronger than Itachi, to which Sasuke lashes out, obviously defending his kind older brother. I mean, there's no way Itachi would lose to you, Shisui, looking at Itachi saying, right, big brother? In which Itachi seems to understand that Shisui is stronger than him, which is a crucial fact, due to that it's heavily emphasized that Shisui is more than willing to do whatever it takes to save the clan and the village in this continuity, being far more willing to use things such as his Susanoo or Kotoamatsukami, which means that maybe in this sparring, Shisui used the weaker Koto maybe on Itachi. This is a bit based in conjecture, however, but he was willing to use the heavy Kotoamatsukami on the entire clan, which he wasn't really willing to do in the original manga. So maybe it was his willingness that allowed Shisui to be the strongest of the Uchiha clan claimed by Danzo. In this game interaction, however, Shisui does not perception blitz Danzo. Rather, he just uses a smoke bomb to escape, which that doesn't really work for Shisui, and he actually resorts to using a green partial Susanoo with a drill. Now, what makes this actually really interesting and why I wouldn't directly count the games, or at least this part of the games, out as non-canon, is because in the recent Naruto 99 poll official art, Kishimoto actually drew Shisui's drill, making that part canon, which the games this doesn't really contradict all that much, and all they do is just kind of add new stuff that wasn't there, such as the Susanoo. So this art piece, however, is rather weird, as Kishimoto, drew every character with some sort of weapon, and some that we have never actually seen before, such as Hashirama's big dragon slayer as sword, like from Berserk. So just pocket this, as Kishimoto is aware of Shisui having a Susanoo and claims it within the Naruto canonical storyline, as something that he doesn't really care about, that's not contradicting to his story. So yeah, when taking the games and the novels into consideration, you can come to the conclusion that Shisui is actually far more overlooked than what you might think, and that if you were to just read the manga, you probably wouldn't come to the same conclusion than if you delved into these extra sources, I guess. So what do you guys think? Do you think that Shisui is truly meant to be as strong as I've just portrayed him outside of the main manga? Or do you think Shisui is truly just a plot device for Itachi's character, where is kind of just overrated in strength, and there's no reason for him to be this high and for him to have a Susanoo and whatnot? So yeah, make sure to let me know in the comments below, and make sure you drop why. With that being said, I would like to ask you guys to check out another video of mine and maybe subscribe for more content like this. And yeah, sorry that this one was so short, but there's really not much to do for Shisui, and I didn't want to waste your guys' time. But yeah. As always, love you guys.